Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters, hope you are well inshallah. I just wanted to share this quick benefit with you from this tremendous book on hadith, Sahih Targhib wa Tarhib by Shaykh Al-Imam Muhammad Nasiruddin Al-Albani rahimahullah, from the first volume. And this is one of the books which we are also currently studying with our Shaykh Sulaiman Al-Ruhaili hafidahullahu ta'ala. So the benefit actually is connected to innovations in dhikr. And the Shaykh mentions a hadith, hadith number 603 in this book, which you can also find in Bukhari 247 and Muslim 2710. So this is the hadith of the noble companion Al-Bara ibn Azib radiyallahu an, in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches him, and instructs him that whenever you go to bed, make wudu, lay on your right side, and then make this dhikr, and let this dhikr be the last thing you say before you go to sleep. And if you die in that state, you will die upon the state of al-fitra, the natural disposition of Islam. Naam. And the dhikr actually is this part here, just these three lines. Naam. That's the dhikr, these three lines. It starts with here, Allahumma inni aslamtu nafsi ilayk, and it ends with these couple of sentences. Amantu bi kitabika alladhi anzalt, O Allah, I believe in the book which you have revealed, wa nabiyyika alladhi arsalt, and the prophet whom you have sent. So once the Prophet ﷺ finishes teaching him this dhikr, Al-Bara radiyallahu anh, he says, قَالَ فَرَدَّدْتُهَا عَلَى النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم. I repeated this dhikr back to the Prophet ﷺ. فَلَمَّا بَلَغْتُ, and when I reached this point, آمَنْتُ بِكِتَابِكَ الَّذِي أَنزَلْتُ, O Allah, I believe in the book which you have revealed. قُلْتُ, I said, وَرَسُولِكَ, and your messenger, I believe in your messenger. قال, the Prophet ﷺ here said, La. The Prophet ﷺ immediately stopped Al-Bara and he said to him, La, no. He corrected him. He said, وَنَبِيِّكَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلْتَ, but rather say, I believe in the Prophet whom you have sent. Why? Because if you look back at the dhikr here, the last part of the dhikr, this is what the Prophet ﷺ actually taught him, to say Nabi. He didn't tell him to say Rasul, which is messenger. He taught him to say Nabi, which is prophet. And in fact, there's not much of a difference in meaning, is there? And it doesn't really change the meaning of the dhikr. But despite that, the Prophet ﷺ corrected him. And in addition to that, if you look at the letters in Rasul and you look at the letters in Arsalta, they match more. There's a match between the two, as opposed to Nabi and Arsalta. But despite that, the Prophet ﷺ stopped him and corrected him. Now the benefit which I want to mention is the commentary of Shaykh Al-Albani rahimahullah on this dhikr, on this hadith, which is here at the bottom. So let's read it together. Read in Arabic and English. So the Shaykh says rahimahullah, fihi tanbihun qawiyyun, in this hadith is a strong reminder, ala anna al-awrada wal-adhkara tawqifiyatun, that supplications and remembrances are based strictly upon the Quran and the Sunnah. وَأَنَّهُ لَا يَجُوزُ فِيهَا التَّصَرُّفُ بِزِيَادَةٍ أَوْ نَقْصٍ, and it's not permissible for anyone to change any of these remembrances, either by adding something to them or removing something from them. وَلَوْ بِتَغْيِيرِ لَفْظٍ لَا يُفْسِدُ الْمَعْنَى, even if that is by changing a word which it doesn't actually change the meaning. فَإِنَّ لَفْظَ الرَّسُولِ أَعَمُّ مِنْ لَفْظَةِ النَّبِي, for indeed the word Rasul, messenger, is more general and broader in meaning than the word An-Nabi, prophet. وَمَعَ ذَلِكَ رَدَّهُ النَّبِيُّ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ, and despite that, the Prophet ﷺ corrected him. مَعَ أَنَّ الْبَرَاءَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ قَالَهُ سَحْوًا لَمْ يَتَعَمَّدْهُ, although Al-Bara radiyallahu anh, he said it by mistake. لَمْ يَتَعَمَّدْهُ, it was unintentional. Then the Shaykh says, this is the beautiful point here, look here. It says, فَأَيْنَ مِنْهُ أُولَٰئِكَ الْمُبْتَدِعَةُ الذين لا يتحرجون من أي زيادة في الذكر أو نقص منه. Then the Shaykh rahimahullah said, then how about those innovators who without any hesitation add things into dhikr or remove things from dhikr? Then he said, فَهَلْ مِن مُعْتَبِرٍ. So the Shaykh says, so is there anyone who will take heed? And then he continues and he says, وَنَحْوُهُمْ أُولَٰئِكَ الْخُطَبَاء. And similar to these mubtadi'ah are those khutbah, the preachers who give khutbahs. الَّذِينَ يُبَدِّلُونَ مِنْ خُطْبَةِ الْحَاجَةِ. Those that change the khutbatul hajah, the Prophet's sermon, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ziyadatan wa naqsan, either by adding something to it or removing something from it, wa taqdeeman wa ta'khiran, or by changing its order. And then the Shaykh finishes and he says, فَلْيَنْتَبِحْ لِهَذَا مِنْهُمْ مَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُ اللَّهَ وَالدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ. And then the Shaykh says, so whoever from amongst them hopes in Allah and the last day, then let him take heed in this and be cautious. Subhanallah. So the Shaykh is basically saying, he's saying, look here, Al-Bara radiyallahu ta'ala an, he mistakenly changed one of the words, which actually it's not a big change. It doesn't really change the meaning from a Nabi to a Rasul. It doesn't really change the meaning of the dhikr. But despite that, the Prophet stopped him and told him to, and stopped him and corrected him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then the Shaykh is saying, so what about those innovators who without any hesitation and deliberately change the dhikr however they want, by adding, by removing, by changing the order, or by inventing new adhkar. Subhanallah, by inventing new adhkar, new remembrances from themselves. Allahul Musta'an. Naam. Wa barakallahu fil jamee'.